Like I'm with my therapist. It's just you and me.
Yeah, we're just gonna go on the fly here. We actually didn't prep very much, so this is just gonna be a real conversation, and we just kind of chat about it. So maybe we start with give me your little background on your entrepreneurial journey and where you came from.
Sure. So, in a nutshell, I'm from Venezuela. I've been in the U.S. I'm an immigrant. I've been there 26 years. I've been a tech entrepreneur for 23 years, and I've been trying to learn how to invest in tech startups for 15 years and still can't get it right. So maybe, you can tell me how to do it.
I think we're always learning, right? I'm a 5-time founder, kind of all over the place. Started in LA and then did some stuff in San Francisco, New York, and eventually found my way to Canada. Built and sold 4 companies, have the 5th one now that was mentioned, the blockchain one, but still learning. So I'm kind of curious, my journey to becoming a sort of VC was accidental. Like I invested on my own. I think as an entrepreneur, you have an exit, and the first thing you think about is giving money to other entrepreneurs and repeating the cycle.
You become a charity.
Yeah, I know. I joke. Someone asked me the other day what I did, and I said I work for a charity, because that's what it feels like often. But yeah, you give money back to founders, and for me, I had a family come to me and say, "Hey, Andrew, we really believe in you. You've picked a lot of really great companies that we've co-invested with you over the years." And I never really wanted to be a VC, so I always just asked families to come join me that I knew to invest, like family offices. So I'd be like, "Hey, come on for the ride, whatever." And so then they gave me $100 million to get started.
Wow.
I said, "Go for it." And so
okay.
I was like, "I guess we'll figure this thing out." I've never done it before, but I'll like do the research.
I'm still not there. I don't think we can call ourselves a VC yet. I mean, we're supporting, companies in the early stage. I think our bread and butter is more the studio, building companies and growing them and scaling them. But
which is way harder.
I mean, after a while, I look at what we do as a craft. You're the carpenter, and you have somebody else as paint, and it's I'm still feeling that I'm still the early stage, kind of like entrepreneur, learning how to do the paint, and because it's different, it's a different trade, but some people kind of like are good at uniting those two roles.
Yeah, I think I'm best, if I'm being honest, at early stage investment. I've always been really good at 0 to 1. Like I love the puzzle, trying to put the pieces together.
Yeah, me too. I can go to Office Depot and buy the desks, then I put them together, and that's as far as I go.
But as soon as the company's growing, I normally want somebody to manage it. Like once we've hit, I'm best, I'd say, through Series B, and then I get really bored. The moment I'm in skip level meetings and we're doing like professional roadmap for your career, like it's about when I check out. And I tell every investor I'm a flight risk. I say I've got 3 good years in me, and then we better make it, or you better find somebody else to replace me.
Same here. I think once you get to the point where you have HR and they're calling you, telling you, "Hey, you have to fill out this report and kind of like get feedback on people and fill out this paperwork," that's where that's where they lose me.
Yeah, me
but
too.
But maybe it's a self-limiting belief, but some people are really good at scaling all the way up. I like small teams because I feel like you're able to still have touch with every part of the organization, and you feel like everything you're doing has some output, and I like that. Once it gets pretty big, I feel like there's people that are better at that, especially managing and following up and hiring and organizational stuff. But yeah, it's a skill. I guess it's what you're good at or what you like.
My favorite part of building a company is the beginning piece. Like when the whole company is brand new and you're all just figuring stuff out together, like being in the grind. Like I love working in co-working spaces and meeting other founders and like learning about their businesses. And I remember I once had this startup where the police officers dropped bike barricades, like the big police barricades, 4 blocks away from the event. And those things are heavy, and we had hundreds of them. And none of our staff showed up, so I just started calling everyone that was on my call list from the co-working space. And literally all these founders showed up at 1:30 in the morning and helped me carry bike barricades for 4 hours and set up like an entire activation. And it's like being in the grind and in the trenches with these founders is the funnest part of the job.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good part. I mean, to me, it's just, seeing an idea come to life, and, it's just a spark. It's just kind of like an initiative, or just the desire of wanting to do something with your partners or friends or whatever, and then seeing something coming to reality, a product or an office, or, hiring people. That's the exciting part, from 0 to 1.
Yeah, and then it gets boring. I find, personally, I would ever teach their own. But maybe walk me through, because you're basically a venture studio. Like, what are the things you look for when you're starting a new company? Like, because I've always had like an idea or some customer come to me. So how do you do that in scale with like a process?
So, we started as operators. My business partners are actually from Guatemala, and that's, how I kind of ended up coming here. But, we built 5 companies. They all had tech teams, hecho a mano here in Guatemala. Because, for us, it worked very well. Great talent, great people that you can count on that married to a project. Great community of talent and developers. You also have a economic arbitrage, a cost arbitrage between here and the US, and we're 2 hours away. So it's kind of like, a Christmas list of what you can get here. So we built 5 companies. We started in the advertising technology space, performance marketing, client acquisition, as an agency. Another company focused on insurance that we grew to 100 million in revenue for years and sold it. We built a payments company, a fintech company, Blue Kite, that was acquired by PayPal, and they still have an office here in Zona 4. And all handmade here in Guatemala. And then, after we had a few exits, we decided to kind of like organize what I call a venture studio people fund. And we have 2 main activities: early stage investing, which, as you know, is a really long-term game, is tough, is illiquid. A lot of your chickens die on the way, but it's fun because you get to work with great people and learn about new, business models, and keeps you kind of fresh. And then we have the studio, which is company building, companies that we build, that we own 100%, and then we grow and bring in management and things like that. And the latest one, we built an insurtech company, healthcare.com, that we grew to $1 billion of valuation and raised 200 million. That's another story. It's then 2022 came, and luckily we adjusted quickly. And but at heart we're still operators. We still like getting dirty and helping the entrepreneurs, but also getting ourselves involved. And I guess that comes from our 20 years plus of being operators. And at this point, at least I feel that I've gone through so many problems that I can add value to the entrepreneur when he or she comes and says, hey, I'm going through this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been through that. So I feel like I'm adding some value by, trying to help them to solve that problem that I probably had many times. So.
No, that makes sense. I think I love that you said the chickens will die. When I write founders a check, I just tell them to die admirably. I assume 70% of them will die. And I want
70 to 80%, right?
I want them to go for it. Like, I don't want you to take my money and then try to like conservatively figure out how you're supposed to do this. Like, I'm giving you the money to go for broke, and I want you to go for broke. And we model for you to fail. And I think as a founder, one of the most freeing, and I didn't coin that, by the way. I was told that by one of my favorite investors, Marvin Loy. And Marvin told me, hey, I'm giving you this money and I expect you to die. Our last company he used to call beat crap, even though it's beat dap. He would just run around calling it beat crap and make fun of me constantly. And it was funny because I'm like, that's true. Like when I give a founder money, I'm like, go for broke. Like I expect you to die. And if you don't, great. I want you to go down with the ship, but like do everything you can, but don't play it safe, like go hard. And I think that, I think it's freeing when you hear an investor say it's okay to fail.
Andrew, and what areas or sectors are you looking at right now? I know you've been pretty big in blockchain and crypto. Are you still, is that the area that you're passionate about, that you're looking for new deals? And then I'll tell you what I'm looking at right now. But
so our whole premise as a fund is that big funds die on their third fund. So like where fund managers fail to return is their third fund. It's easy to get 10 or 20 million to get started, and then you raise a 50 to 70 million dollar fund, and then you go to like $100+ million fund, and the dynamics change. In the beginning, you're co-investing. You're investing with people who are leading. They're doing a lot of the diligence. They're sitting on the board. You just to pick the best parts of you to give to the company. Like I'm great at growth. I'm great at org charts. I'm great at whatever. When you start leading rounds, all of a sudden you have no other social signals. Like you're competing with all the very people that were your friends previously. And so like 90+%, I think it's the stats, like 95% of third funds don't return. And so what I was trying to avoid was, if I'm building a fund for the families that trust me and the large billion-dollar families that gave us money, then I want to have the highest return multiple. So the way we structured the fund, which everyone thought was crazy at the time, was to build a bunch of funds that were all between $10 and $30 million, and then each fund has the highest chance of having a higher return multiple, but have unique focuses. So we have one fund that's late stage, Series B+. We have one fund that's pre-seed seed. We have another fund that is YC alumni fund, where we only invest in current batch companies. We have one fund that's blockchain Web3, and we have another fund that's just launching with the state of Michigan that is focused on mobility and manufacturing. And so each one kind of has its lane. And if we're good at playing baseball, we just keep playing baseball. So the way our fund works is fund 1 turns into fund 2, turns into fund 3, turns into fund 4. They all look the same. We just rinse and repeat at what we're good at. That's
great. For me, at least personally, I've built kind of, an interest, I would say, in insurance and healthcare, because I've been involved in insurance and healthcare for the last decade. And so I'm gravitate more into, especially asset light businesses that can apply technology, either SaaS, but with a focus on healthcare and insurance. I feel like the market is so big, and it's so behind in any type of technology adoption that you can build something that can have a great outcome in the field. So for me personally, I feel like there's still a big opportunity in insurance and healthcare, both huge industries. I like it, and I feel like you can still build asset-light models, and that's what I've been focusing on, 10 years in the last few years.
So do you guys invest ever outside of your own projects, or are you just home growing everything?
Totally, yeah. I feel like we have, we do have the studio, and, we focus some of our time operating those companies. I kind of like that part. And then my partners, actually, Diego is there. He's one of my 4 partners at People Fund. We're 4 equal partners, and we've been pretty diversified like you. We have like material tech, we have mobility, we have biotech, healthcare, insurance, travel. I mean, we feel like we've kind of done it all.
What's your favorite company? Quick, everyone's got one.
On what?
All of your portfolios, favorite company, first one comes to mind.
Well, Diamond Foundry is the one that really comes to mind. I mean, it's a company that we were the only seed. Actually, Diego was forcing us to do that deal, but we were the only seed check into the company 12 years ago. And the company's been growing and profitably for the last 5 years. They got to a $2 billion valuation. They raised by a fund by Fidelity, and they keep growing the healthy way by cash flows and EBITDA. So we're really excited about that. That's a pretty big piece of our, fund and our attention and our Excel sheet. So I mean, that's the one I like, and because it kind of has it's a very deep tech company. It's not only it creates lab-grown diamonds. But the funny thing is that they're building diamonds for industry, like for drillers. They're building parts for electric cars. Now they're building kind of wafers for high-speed processors. So, I mean, it's like a crazy technology company. So we're really excited about that one.
Yeah, out of our portfolio.
What about for you? What?
Varda. Varda is my favorite company.
Varda, what is that one?
Varda is manufacturing drugs in space for R&D and human consumption. So they literally go up to space with these really cool modules. If anyone has any questions, Jordan right there is the one that built everything. He's literally the most amazing, brilliant person.
Congrats.
But they're manufacturing drugs in space because in zero gravity, it has different structures, like molecule structures. And so it behaves very differently in your body. It has different shelf lives, different properties. And so they're testing different types of drugs for discovery, bringing it back down to Earth. And then the ultimate goal is human consumption. And so you think about how that could potentially unlock so much for humanity. And we're unafraid as a fund to invest in those frontier technologies. And Jordan obviously leads a lot of those, but
changing the world, or in this case, the universe, because you're going in space. So, do we want to open up for Q&A? Because we have 2 more minutes, or
any questions?
What's the plan?
Not everyone at once now.
Is there drinks after this? Is that everybody's waiting for a michelada?
Thanks for saving me.
What do you think with what kind of industry are you going to focus on next for your fund?
Me personally, I'm pretty excited about healthcare and insurance because I feel that there is still big opportunity. So I gravitate more into projects that are doing something in healthcare and insurance. Plus, I've been involved in that sector for a decade, and so I have contacts. I feel that I can help. So healthcare and insurance for me.
I would love to launch a space fund and just do all space and deep tech investments. We've had a really great track record. And it's crazy if anyone saw the presentation earlier, but you can get such massive returns because there's so much government and early, revenue that you can make from companies exploring this now. And so from our viewpoint, space...
Well, the TAM is infinite, right? It's a lot of space.
Yeah, I guess. That's what I think we're most interested in. And we still do the regular stuff, Outside of that, personally, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. A lot of people know me for blockchain. I started mining in 2011 and built a lot of trading stuff since then. So if anyone has any crypto questions, I can typically be your weird crypto friend. But
when is it going to go up?
Truthfully, I'll give it on the record.
When is the next bull market, man? When do we buy?
45,000 by June 2024.
All right, okay.
75,000 by December December 2024. 150,000 by June 2025.
$5?
Let's do it.
Okay.
We all saw it, right? This has been recorded. I'll text message you for that $5 in a year.
I'd like to hear both of yours. I guess I heard one of your controversial predictions for the next 10 years.
I think prop tech will still be dead.
To me, I think the biggest applications for blockchain that I guess will affect our lives would be mostly on certificates of ownership. I feel like especially like mobile assets, cars, bikes, boats. I feel like we'll have more governments. Kind of like instead of just sending you a paper, it'll be like a blockchain certificate of ownership, kind of like managed by a government. I think that's coming in the next 5 years.
Still baffles me that we have a driver's license. Like, they should just know that. I think we're out of time, but appreciate everyone for coming in.
We still have time for.
Oh, one more question.
One
Okay,
more,
let's
the
go.
last one.
It's the last panel, so get as much juice of information as you want.
I have a question, Andrew.
Yeah.
So I love that you encourage entrepreneurs to fail confidently, but I want to know, how do you balance or manage the investors' interest to have returns and while still caring for the entrepreneur to fail? Like, how do you balance that?
Yes, so we expect 1 in 100 to pay back the fund, and I think we try to be careful about which companies that we invest in that could have that potential. So from the very beginning, we're looking at that company. Has nothing to do with the company. Sometimes it's just the market conditions, the segment they're targeting. I think of 4 fits, so like product market fit, market channel fit, channel business model fit. And so you work through a framework and you think about, is this company have the potential to be that outcome? And if they don't, we just won't invest. It could be a great company, but it doesn't fit our model. And I think we try to have that alignment with founders before we ever write the check. We don't try to figure that out afterwards.
Well, to me, there are different kinds of failure. I mean, I fail all the time. It's just what type of, the way you fail. So I feel like as an investor, you can try to help the entrepreneur figure out how to fail well, meaning that taking bets that they can actually overcome and, not go all or nothing. Because we've done the all go or nothing, and then you have a 50-50 chance and you die. And the name of the game is just to survive and be there for a long time. So, every company, if they're active and they're growing, they always have eggs kind of like in the air. So out of the 10 things, probably 8 of them are going to fail. But, the good thing is focus on failing well. Having one egg that actually works, and then you keep at it. Don't go all or nothing. I know that, if you're an investor and you have a lot of children, it's hard to spend a lot of time. But at the end of the day, it's all about survival. It's all about knowing how to fail. And I guess you could add value to an entrepreneur by teaching them how to do that and not just be pass or fail all the time. Because if you do pass or fail all the time, it's like the Russian roulette. It's going to get you at some point. And I feel like, that's what's helped me and my team, keep going, because we fail a lot, but we learn from those failures, but it's not an end game for us. We keep learning and enduring. So it's learning how to fail. That's my point.
And then having empathy, right? So when they do fail as the investor, just like helping them find their next job, helping their employees find places to go.
That's good karma, right? You're building your karma points.
Or hopefully you're just taking the best and putting them into your next portfolio
Yeah, right.
company. But, everybody should have a soft landing. Cool. I think that's it, correct?
Thank you, man.
Thank you.